This video will show you how to use Feedback Studio, which is Turnitin's review and grading platform. The first thing you need to do to access Feedback Studio is go to your course, scroll down to your Turnitin assignment, and select the assignment. This brings you to the student inbox. All you have to do is select the name of the piece of writing that you would like to grade, and Feedback Studio will open in a second window. Feedback Studio is where you can view your students' originality reports and check for plagiarism, as well as grade their paper. The first thing to note on the right side of the screen is our layers. That's what we call these two different boxes with icons in them. The first layer is your grading layer, and your second layer is your similarity layer. To make sure these layers are on and activated, simply click on the very top icon and make sure it's the same color as the rest of the layer. The very first icon is our quick marks layer. Select it and you can see a number of quick marks already here to be used. If you select the drop-down menu, you can see there's already a number of quick mark sets loaded into the feedback program. You can select a different set that you would like to use. If you would like to focus on punctuation, you can click that. I'm going to use our commonly used quick marks right now. Now, there are two different ways to use quick marks in a paper. The first is to simply drag and drop from this menu onto the paper. So if I want to tell a student that maybe the first sentence of their paper is awkward, I can simply select awk and drag and drop over to the first sentence. If you click on this, it gives you a little more information about what that quick mark means, so the student has all the information they need. The second way to use quick marks is to highlight a piece of text and select the first icon that appears. This brings up another menu where you can select your quick mark and then add a comment if you would like. And now you can see you can still move your quick mark around, but now it's associated with a highlighted piece of text. So it's a little easier for students to tell what the quick mark is related to. So also on our quick marks menu, you can create your own sets of quick marks instead of using the ones that are loaded into the program. Many science or math or sciences courses will need different sets of quick marks than the ones currently loaded into the program. The ones currently loaded are mostly aimed toward humanities courses. So to add a quick mark set, click on the settings icon, click on the menu to the left, top left-hand screen, and click Create New Set. And save. Now click on the menu again and you can scroll down and see the set you have just created. You can either create a quick mark in this interface, and now we have a quick mark here, and you can see it is set if you are under the set you just created. The quick mark that I just created is now listed under this set. A second way to create a quick mark is to highlight a piece of text, click on the comments button, add a comment, and then down here at the bottom of the comments screen you can see the button Convert to Quick Mark. We can make our title Writing Center and make sure it's added to the set that you would like and save. Now when a student sees this, they'll be able to click on the quick mark, see your description, and you can move it around again with the highlighted text so that students can tell exactly what you're talking about. You can also use these arrows at the top of the screen to toggle between student papers so that you never have to leave Feedback Studio while you're grading. You simply either choose from the drop-down menu the list of students, or you can click on the next arrow to see the next submission you have. The next thing we can look at is the functions of our highlighting. So when you highlight a piece of text, you've already seen the two options where you can add a quick mark, add a comment, but you can also strike through text. If you don't believe you need a quick mark to tell students to delete something, simply do a strike through. The next thing to note in your grading layer is the second icon. This is your feedback summary. This is where you can leave a comment for the whole of the paper. For instance here, I think your paper needs work. Or you can leave a voice comment for your students. Simply click the record button, and when you're finished, pause, and then click the stop button. You can also delete it if your recording doesn't come out how you want it to. The next thing to note is your rubric form icon. This is the last icon on your grading layer. If you have already loaded a rubric into Feedback Studio, then your rubric will appear here. You can see that all of our criteria and the descriptions are listed down here, and you can drag and drop this menu so that it takes up more or less space. You can also see that you can move these buttons around to mark exactly how you think your student is doing on this paper. Sometimes the menu at the bottom of the screen can be a little hard to read while you're grading, so another way to grade is to click on this full-size rubric button, open your rubric in a separate page, and simply click on how you think your student is doing. I don't know if you can see it very well in this video, but the text turns a slightly different color when you select it. This means that it's going to convert your grading within this rubric into a grade within Feedback Studio. So I'm going to say that my student had excellent evidence, claim, and focus, but maybe not the best organization and not great language and style. When I close this, you can see that my rubric here has been updated. Now this is a qualitative rubric that I have downloaded, which means that it won't convert to a number grade, but it will provide feedback for the students. You can download quantitative rubrics as well from Turnitin.com, and those will give you a number grade along with your rubric choices, and will convert that grade on a scale of, say, 1 to 25. We'll give them a score based on that scale and convert it to a score out of 100 for you. If you need to upload a rubric or create a new rubric, simply click on the gear setting, select the menu in the upper left-hand corner, and click Create New Rubric. Here you can create your scale, your points, add your criteria, give your rubric a name, and enter all of the text information about the rubric. And by doing this, you'll be creating a scale so that your rubric can be converted from a number grade on a scale that you have created into a score out of 100 as well. Moving on to the originality report layer. This layer tells you about potential instances of plagiarism in your student's paper. If you click on the very first icon, it tells you the percentage match for your student and plagiarism. So this paper has a 3% match, which is very low. It'll tell you a brief overview of all the sources it found to get that percent. So as you can see, the program only found one source to match this paper. If you click on the second icon, it gives you a much more full list. It gives you all of the potential sources that were found against your student's paper. And the program will highlight and color code where the instances of plagiarism were found. So if there was more than one instance of plagiarism, the next instance would be a different color, would be highlighted in the paper in that color, and would be numbered as well. So I only have one instance of potential plagiarism. It's highlighted in red and it's given the number 1. And this is all of the sources that could potentially be a match for plagiarism in my paper. If you click on one of the sources, it pulls up the source next to the potentially plagiarized portion and shows you where the quote was found. You can click on the source name and it will open in a different window where the quote was found. And then you can simply click on Feedback Studio again to go back. Your next icon is your filter icon. This is where you can go to exclude your bibliography if you haven't done that in your settings. If we take off the exclude bibliography and apply changes, it hasn't changed my match overview because there is no works cited, but if you have a work cited, it will highlight that and make your match overview score go up. The filters icon is where you can also exclude matches by size, so you can select how many words you'll let students have as a buffer or what percentage. So maybe if a match is 1% or below, you don't think it's worth mentioning. So you can select that. It automatically defaults to 1%, apply changes. And that hasn't changed the match overview for this particular paper because the only match it had was the 3% match. But it did remove any 1% or lower matches. The last button you have here is your Exclude Sources button. You can go back to your filter button, select a source, and click Exclude Sources if you would like to. So when you click Exclude Sources, you have a number of options. Say you didn't want to go to your filter button and exclude certain sources by percentage or by number of words. Instead, you can exclude sources by going into your expanded list of sources and selecting individual ones and excluding them. Now, as you can see, that didn't change the match overview, but if it hasn't changed the match overview and you want to go back and apply all those sources again, you can simply click on the checkmark boxes and restore them individually, or you can click Restore All. The last thing you can do here is download reports. If you click on the download button in the final layer out here in gray, you can see that you can download the current view, the digital receipt, or the originally submitted file. If you download the digital receipt, this is what you'll use if you ever have to talk to Turnitin about issues with the paper. If you download the current view, it will give you a report with all of your comments, all of the highlighting, all of the quick marks, as well as your rubric. All of that information will be downloaded into one report, which can be helpful to give to students because they can see exactly what you were talking about when you gave them a certain grade based on a rubric. As you can see, it gives them the paper with all of your quick marks and highlighting. It highlights the portion that was potentially plagiarism. And then it gives them their similarity match, including the list of matches that they got from Feedback Studio. The next page will have your grade out of 100, and it will have a description of the quick marks, your comments, as well as the rubric. And it highlights where exactly they fell on the rubric so that the student understands why they got the grade they did. The last thing to do in Feedback Studio is to actually grade the paper, which is simply done by placing the grade in the box next to the 100 mark at the top of your page. Now, when you exit out of Feedback Studio, you'll be able to see the score in your student inbox. So we're refreshing our submissions. And you can see here that the student has been given their similarity score, which is a 3%, as well as their grade. You can edit your grade here. It will bring you directly back to Feedback Studio, and it's simply highlight the grade to change it. Once it's entered, it'll update automatically in your Course Connect gradebook. That is how to use Feedback Studio, Turnitin's review and grading program.